In this video, I'd like to give you a few tips on how to behave on conference calls so that it is both effective and also respectful to the other members on the call. I trust this is going to be especially relevant in these times where we know there's just so much more conference calls going on than usually. Hi guys, my name is Heinrich and welcome to another coffee break with Firm Learning. Today I'm talking about conference calls. And as probably you know, in consulting, conference calls are so common, you probably on a usual day have more than 5 conference calls going on. Since about half a year ago, I made the move from consulting, moving into industry, and now I'm working for a large German retailer. So I joined in the end of 2019, and at that time in our company, it was quite unusual to do conference calls. It was very much a more classical conservative culture of people rather preferring to either just call somebody up or just meet in person in order to discuss things. Well, for obvious reasons, this changed. Due to the global pandemic that is going on and also hit Germany in a substantial way, since several weeks now, a large proportion of our leadership team is in home office and I work from home office as well. You currently see me filming this sitting in my home office in Munich. And this brought quite a significant change in culture in our organization, as now we have daily conference calls. Every morning, for instance, there's a conference call check-in with the senior leadership team of our company. And both in this retail company I'm currently working with, but also in consulting, having worked with several clients, I have observed a whole number of habits that people have on conference calls, which are just either disturbing for the majority of the people or just plain ineffective for the objective of the conference call, namely having a good and to-the-point discussion of the topics at hand that just need to be solved by the team that is now just talking together. So in this video, I'd like to give you 5 tips on what you can do in order to make your conference calls more effective and less of an annoyance to all the people on there. And if you find this useful, feel free to forward this video to some of your co-workers as well, so that your conference call experience hopefully improves for your whole organization. So first thing, and this might seem to be one of the more obvious things, go on mute. It is incredible to me that most people who are dialed in a conference call are not on mute and just have their microphone on the whole time, even though they are not talking. And this is irritating and disturbing for some obvious reasons. Even though it might be quiet where you sit at the moment right now, it can always happen that an ambulance passes by your street or there are some other sudden noises that suddenly come up that then disturb the whole call. And even if they're not some hidden, sudden, loud noises, just you sitting in front of your computer, pressing buttons on your keyboard, maybe eating something, maybe your neighbor saying something in a loud way, all of these are things which are disturbing, which create a constant level of background noise, which is just not helpful when you want to have a good discussion in your conference call. So my first advice is, whenever you do not talk, go on mute. This is the absolute minimum that you need to do in order to be respectful to your other co-workers. Go on mute and unmute yourself just whenever you really need to say something. And if you don't need to say something, go on mute to not let other people be disturbed by the background noises that you will have while being on the microphone. Now the second tip. And this is something that I think we all know as well, and to what extent this issue exists also depends on the conference call system that you are using. But very frequently you hear in the background these automated voices of the conference call system saying something like, "Peter joined the call, Peter dropped the call, Peter joined the call, Peter dropped the call," right? So whenever somebody joins or drops the call, in many conference call systems, there's an automatic voice saying that to all the people in the call. And of course, if you've been there, if you've seen these kind of things, this is extremely disturbing, because if somebody joins or drops the call, basically the conversation is interrupted by that voice. So how can you diminish this disturbance as much as possible? Well, and again, this very much also depends on the conference call system that you're using, how exactly that works. But frequently, whenever you dial into a conference call, the system often asks you for your name. So it will say something like, please tell us your name after the beep sound and then press the hash button, right? So it asks you to say your name and then press the button, usually the hash key, so that the system knows that now the recording can stop of your name. So what you need to do, where the little trick here is that when you're being asked to tell your name, just don't tell your name. Just don't say anything and directly press the hash key. So it asks you and you directly press it without any second left so that it cannot really record anything. And then when you join or when you drop the call, there will just be no sound of the system saying your name to everybody because this recording of a name just doesn't exist. So whenever the system asks you for your name, press the hash key, don't say your name and you will be fine. Of course, if there's a strict rule in your company that you need to say your name, well, then do that, don't get in trouble for that. But most companies, there isn't anything like that. And I can tell you, if you do this and if you tell all your co-workers to do this, your conference calls will go much more smoothly because this kind of disturbance just isn't there anymore. So guys, my third tip is about what to do when you actually join the conference call late. And of course, this can happen for all kinds of reasons. But what many people do, which I find quite disrespectful and disturbing, is the person is late, the discussion is already ongoing, and then the person joins the call and then just says something like, "Hi guys, Heinrich here. I'm late, sorry for that, I was just stuck in traffic, but now I'm here, sorry for that," right? And by doing that, he interrupts the whole conversation and just stops the person who was currently doing. And especially in large conference calls where there are many people online in the call and many people coming late, if all these people then apologize for being late and then in the worst case even also give a reason why they were late, this is just such a disturbance. So from my experience, the best practice really is, if you are joining the conference call and you are late, just say nothing. Don't introduce yourself that you are there now. Don't apologize why you are late. Just say nothing. And this is especially true if you can hear that the call already started and there's already a conversation going on. And of course, that might be different if you are the CEO of the company or if you are the person that's actually supposed to lead the whole conference call, or you're just the most important person in the call, then maybe it's okay and then it maybe makes sense that you let all the others know that you are there. But if you are just one of many participants, most likely the others will not really care if you are there or not, or at least they won't care as much for you to interrupt the whole discussion just for letting them know. So just be quiet and just use the next opportunity where you see a moment where you can just add something meaningful to the discussion, where you can say that, and then also by doing that, letting the others know that now you joined the call as well. The fourth tip on conference calls is to be concise. So for all these reasons and many others, conference calls can be quite tiresome and annoying. Everybody should contribute for making these calls as short and as efficient as possible. And we all know these people who just in meetings, in conversations need to have their stage time. These people that feel like that they always need to say something, that even though that has been already said many times, they need to repeat it again. People that state the obvious just to say something. This is annoying. And this is not only annoying in conference calls, but of course also in regular meetings as well. But this is especially annoying in conference calls because conference calls in itself often are a bit of an annoying situation, and this only makes it worse. So make sure that when you say something, it really adds value to the conversation. You're not just repeating things that others have already said. You're not stating the obvious, so things that are completely obvious, but you just say them just because you feel like you need to say something. Do not do these things. Be concise for the sake of everybody involved. And now my fifth tip is, if anyhow possible, only join the call if you have a more or less stable connection. I mean, also we've all been in these situations where people join from an airport, maybe already sitting in an airplane, or they join from the car, or they join from the train, and then they constantly lose the connection, drop off the call, then drop in again. And this is just the disturbance, because even if you do not say your name in the beginning, so it doesn't always say Peter joined or left the call, often there's at least a beeping sound, which is a disturbance. So if you already know that you will not have a stable connection for your telephone conference, and if there's any way for you that maybe your attendance isn't absolutely crucial, or maybe there's a way to postpone it to a moment where you actually have a more stable connection, do not join if your connection is unstable. Because again, it is a big disturbance to all the other people on the call. It is annoying and it's a waste of time. So be respectful to the time of your co-workers. So these were my 5 tips, and of course I'm interested now to hear, how is your work environment changing in these dire times, in this global pandemic? Is it true for you as well that you are now having many more conference calls? Let me know what your experience is below in the comments. I'd love to hear from you, and if you have any other tips that you'd like to share with our community here on Firm Learning, let us know. I'm sure that others would appreciate as well. What are your do's and don'ts for having good and effective telephone conferences? And of course, if you took any value out of this video at all, if always, please press the like button to help the YouTube algorithm let other people find this video as well. And if you'd like to see more videos on how you can be successful in the first years of your career, videos similar like this, please press the subscribe button. Of course, I'd also love to hear your feedback, topics you'd like to see covered in this channel. Just let me know and I'll include this on my list of ideas for the future videos. I will release at least one video every week, so thank you for hanging in here with me. Thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. My name is Heinrich from Firm Learning. Stay safe everybody and have a good day.